So I've come back to the spot that I was by earlier. Water's gone, ground's dry now. But the two vehicles that were flooded, that they're still just left here. It's a nice Accord too. I don't know if they, I mean, I'm gonna have to go around it and try something different, but that's it. Plantation Road in Elmwood, Louisiana. Surprised they didn't tow them by now, or try to do something. They're just sitting in the street. That's going to be really odd come traffic time in the morning. It's a JPSO unit. Messing up my video. But yeah, they're still just sitting right here. Ain't that something? I guess the JPSO unit is gonna address it, I guess. That's them. They're just still sitting right there, just abandoned. That's a Mercedes E350 and like a 2012 Honda Accord. Now, the problem is that when you drive into water like that, it's very possible that they could have hydro-locked. So I might go around the block and come back to it. But yeah, it's possible that they could have hydro-locked. So what that means is that the intake tubing, now mine, I've modified it. I pulled off my resonator so it no longer draws from the bottom, but on a stock intake it draws from the very bottom behind, like, say, the fog light. And if you're driving, especially if you have a sedan or a little two-door car or something small, if you drive in water that goes high enough to be by the fog lights, you automatically are running the risk of hydrolocking. And what that is it's basically water will, and this will happen long before the car will stall from a computer issue. This is basically just water gets by the intake tubing, and enough water can be drawn into the intake piping, and it can actually be drawn up into the engine, and it goes into the, it'll go in through the actual air, through the intake manifold. It'll work its way up into the actual intake system itself, and it'll actually end up into it'll go into the valves. And from the valves, it'll actually get thrown back into the piston, and you get thrown into the cylinder. And in the engine, the piston will come up, it'll try to compress that water. What do you think happens when it tries to compress the water? Water doesn't compress like air. So, it'll just take it, and that piston rod will actually just bend. It'll actually just bend the whole piston rod, and usually it'll buckle, and the piston rod will come out the side of the engine, and pretty much that's it. Bye-bye, engine. It's just, in other words, your piston will come out the side of the engine. So, I'm fairly certain, I don't know, because there was so much water under the cars, but it wouldn't surprise me much that if there's going to be some chunks of metal underneath those cars, and if that happened, if water actually got into the cars, and then if you go from there, and then if you consider if water actually got inside of the cars, and then you add to it with the engine being messed up, say that 2012-ish Accord, it's probably worth about $8,000 or $9,000 book value. It's a V6, it's a fully loaded one like my car is. And that Mercedes, they're both probably worth about $10,000, $12,000. So if it's just the engine only, and if the inside of the car didn't get wet, insurance might go ahead and just throw the $3,000, $4,000 to get the engine put in it. If the inside actually got damaged, then you're probably looking at a write-off. This is how they sit. This is how they sit. Alright, guys. Just figure I'd come back out and see what's going on with that. And at the intersection of Jefferson Highway and Plantation Road here, right next to Riley's and Walmart in Elmwood, Louisiana. Go ahead and head back out Harahan Way now. Alright guys, quick update on the stalled cars we filmed earlier. As of midnight, they're still sitting there. Alright, y'all take care.